Hi, MacU. This is Michelle Strain, the director of the Scraper Counseling Center, coming to you today to talk about learning to cope with overwhelm. When I was talking to a group of students and I asked them, what is the number one thing you feel like needs to be addressed as far as mental health goes, they all said, what do we do when we're so overwhelmed we can hardly move forward? So that's why this presentation was drafted and written, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me tell you a little bit about the Scraper Counseling Center here at MacU. We offer free counseling that's private and confidential for all students, whether you're a graduate student or an undergraduate student, whether you are traditional or non-traditional, it doesn't matter. We see you for free as long as you are in the state of Oklahoma at the time of services. We prefer to do in-person appointments, but we can do virtual if you live outside of the metro area, but also live in the state of Oklahoma. So if you're interested in making an appointment, you can give us a call at 405-691-3151 or check out our website at macu.edu/scraper-center. Let's look at stress and overwhelm and kind of how it impacts us all, whether we're students or staff or faculty or our family members or just people in the community. Stress and overwhelm can cause chronic and unhealthy levels of stress. And it's at its worst among college-age students and young adults, some research shows. We all have, stress and overwhelm at times. And sometimes it's the worst during this age group because you have less life experience to handle it and know what to do with it. So that's why I'm hopeful this training will help everyone out who watches to give you a chance to learn some things you can do to cope with that. So here's some stress among students. The biggest cause of stress among college students, starting with academics, you have to keep up with your homework. You have to study, you have to do your readings, you have to be prepared for a test, you have to get good grades. It's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself and that you're being put on you just from being a college student. Your future plans. I think that a lot of people who are younger expect that they need to have their life figured out by the time they enter college. Most people don't have their life figured out. And it's kind of a false pressure that we put on ourselves to have to know what we want to do with the rest of our entire lives. I started my second career when I was in my mid-30s, and it's turned out pretty good for me so far because I could change my mind. I didn't sign up for something and decide just because I signed up for it when I was 22 years old that I had to do it forever. I was able to make a change that suited me the best. And here I am now, several years later. There's some financial situations. There's a reason why there's the phrase poor college student. It's really hard to go to college and work. And when you do work, you don't make a lot of money because you don't have a college degree and you are in college, which makes it tough. Finances are a big part of that stress and overwhelm. College life in general can be stressful and overwhelming. There's always so much going on. There's small groups and Bible studies and worship nights and class and friendships that you're meeting in the cafeteria for lunch or hanging out with or studying or going out on the weekend. There's all kinds of things. And I remember feeling fear of missing out or FOMO whenever I was in college, and I'm sure you do too. It is a real thing, and when you have so much going on, it's hard to prioritize your time, it's hard to get things done, and it's a real cause of stress. And then relationships. Relationships are very important to maintain and to start new. In college, we are making a whole new set of friends a lot of times, and we are focusing on building those friendships and maintaining those friendships that has a lot of energy. And sometimes we have a significant other that we're dating or we're seeing, and that can cause stress too. If things are rocky or if things aren't just right, it can cause some stress. So we know that college life can cause a lot of stress for us. In fact, 46% of adults ages 18 to 35 reported that most days they are so stressed out that they cannot function. That is a crazy statistic. That's almost half of people feel like they can't function because of their stress level on a regular basis. 66% of college students actually reported feeling stress in a Gallup poll. I can't believe it's not 100%, but maybe those are the only people willing to tell people that they're feeling stress. That's 2/3 of all students who are feeling stress in a college setting. 51% of college students reported feeling they worry during a lot of the day, more than half of the people in that same study in March 2023. And emotional stress was the one of the top reasons students considered dropping out of college in the fall 22 semester, according to the State of Higher Education study. When we have so much emotional stress, it keeps us from being successful, and we tend to have to make decisions that are best for our family and for ourselves. Stress affects us all differently. It can have some personal, relational ways that it stresses us out. It can have systemic factors, or even things like politics or social justice can cause stress for us. But knowing how to stop feeling overwhelmed and how to reduce your anxiety is critical to moving forward when you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed. You might try one of these 4 basic coping skills. Figuring out the root cause of what's causing your stress is really important. Many times I've acted out and being like mad at my family or friends, and they're like, geez, what is wrong with you, Michelle? And I have to stop and think, I'm not mad at them. I'm stressed out about something else entirely. And I have to get to that root cause of why I'm feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed and deal with that, so I can come back, apologize to my friends or family, and then function in a much healthier way moving forward. Focusing on your breath is another way, and we're going to be talking about that later in this presentation. Practicing mindfulness or meditation, another thing we're going to talk about. And speaking with a mental health professional is another way we're going to be able to talk to a person about how they can help you, and taking kind of the stigma out of it. Stress and overwhelm symptoms can include some physical things like a headache. I know I get stress headaches, and they are real. They are actually headaches. They're not created in my mind. All of these things can be real and physical problems and not just made up in your mind. Sometimes people will say, oh, he doesn't really have a stomach ache. He just has anxiety. Well, he does have a stomach ache caused by anxiety sometimes. So nausea can be another one. Heart disease. When you are chronically stressed or overwhelmed, it can lead to heart disease or an irritable colon. Insomnia is a big one. I know that I've been experiencing some of that lately, where I'm having crazy, unrestful dreams, or I'm awake in the middle of the night, or I'm having trouble falling asleep in general. And sometimes you can even get a rash or hives when you feel really stressed out. That's the body's response to a major stressor a lot of times. So some other stress and overwhelm symptoms or signs of stress overload can include crying really easily. Maybe you're easily triggered by something insignificant, withdrawing away from your friends and your family, feeling depressed, which would be 2 or more weeks of consistent sadness, tiredness. No matter how much sleep you get, you're just exhausted all the time. I know that's a real thing that I deal with sometimes. Trouble sleeping, not being able to stay asleep or fall asleep, acting out, changes in appetite. There's all kinds of things that you can feel whenever you're feeling stress that can be physical manifestations of the level of stress and overwhelm that you feel. And here are some more signs and symptoms of being stressed or overwhelmed. When you look at these, look at them in combination with each other. If people have 1 or 2 of these things, might not be stress or overwhelm, but when you start to see them together, that's when you're kind of getting a clear indication as they're feeling really stressed out or really overwhelmed or anxious about something. So the physical ways are fatigue, sleep difficulties, stomach ache, chest pain, headaches and migraine, increased sweating. Emotional would be like a loss of motivation, anxiety, depression or sadness, restlessness, inability to focus, or mood instability. And then behavioral might be unhealthy eating, drug or alcohol use, social withdrawal, nail biting, constant stress or loss of appetite all could be things that indicate a level of stress or overwhelm. Okay, Michelle, so you've told us about what all anxiety and stress and overwhelm does. So what do we do about it? So I'm going to give you 9 different things that you can do, and we're going to talk about each of them. So you can reflect on your why, you can accept your feelings, practice mindfulness, try breathing exercises, focus on what you can control, take breaks, do what you enjoy, hug and be hugged, and speaking with a therapist. So we're going to talk about each of these things and take a look at them specifically. Reflecting on your why is really critically important. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you here? Why did you choose MACU? Why did you choose the major that you're studying or the profession that you want to explore? Really getting to the root of the why behind things is going to make it easier, because sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in the details of life or the minutia of life. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. Reevaluate your goals as needed and make adjustments. And then ground yourself to why you're doing the hard things now to get to where you want to be. Many conversations I've had with students in the past and clients in the past start with, sometimes we have to do what we don't want to do to get to where we want to be. And reminding them that we have to do hard things sometimes just to get to where we want to be in life. Accepting your feelings. Remember, you guys, your feelings are real. Even if they're illogical or nonsensical, they still are real things and you can still feel them. Learning that your feelings are not a weakness, it's a strength. When you lean into those feelings and really understand them and accept them, it's really the sign of a strong person. Allotting time to process your feelings is important. When you've had something tough happening in your life, maybe making a plan where, on this Saturday, I am going to spend the morning reflecting and journaling and processing through my deep feelings. And that's okay to do that. Giving yourself time and space is really, really important. Maybe you go to a quiet spot, a bench at a park, maybe the library, either on campus or off campus, maybe your favorite coffee shop, wherever it is, you're getting time to process through some feelings that you're having. And the most important thing, if you can remember one thing today, remember this. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to say it again. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true. Sometimes our feelings lie to us, and it's okay to have feelings, but it's important to differentiate between the truth and our feelings. Sometimes you might feel like nobody likes you or wants to be around you. Well, that's just most likely not true. You might feel that way because of something that's happened in a friendship group or in an academic setting, but the truth is something went wrong this one time and it doesn't reflect people's opinions or love for you the rest of the time. So deciding that you can believe what's true and let go of the feelings that aren't true is critically important. Next up is practicing mindfulness. When you can able to be really mindful about everything that's going on around you, being in the present, the here and now, being really intentional with what you're saying and doing and expressing yourself, it can make a huge difference. So let me give you one exercise that we do regularly in my office and in our other counselor's office. All right, now we're going to do a grounding exercise and using our 5 senses to do that. So would you guys do this exercise with me? So tell me 5 things that you see around you right now. Think of those 5 things. Good work. All right, now let's talk about 4 things that you can physically touch with your hands or your body. Good. Now tell me 3 things that you hear. Now tell me 2 things that you smell. It's a little tougher. Okay, now tell me 1 thing that you taste. Good. This is a grounding exercise that helps you get back into the present and the here and now. Sometimes we spiral when we're thinking about the future, things we have to do, or worries that we have about a test or about something coming up. And this will bring you back to the here and now and make you feel safe. It's been known to bring people out of a panic attack or a near panic attack. And people with anxiety use this a lot to help them feel safe and in control of their settings. So breathing exercises. We're going to do a breathing exercise together right now. So join me, please. The first one we're going to do is a 2-7-9. So what we're going to do in a moment when I say go is we're going to take a huge breath in for 2 seconds. We're going to hold it for 7 seconds. And then we're going to let it out very, very slowly through our mouths for 9 seconds. And when we do that, we're going to feel the tension and stress in our shoulders run down our arms and out through our fingertips. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. How did that feel? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed than you did before you did it? I hope so. Now, the one thing I love about a 2-7-9 is you can do it anytime, anywhere. It's something you can do privately. You can do it in class even when you're having a struggle or you're feeling anxious. You can do it in a public setting. It just doesn't matter. It's something you can take with you in your pocket and do it anytime you want. Another similar one is box breathing. So imagine you're going to draw a box. Okay? So you're going to take a big breath in. Let it out. Big breath in. Let it out. And you've drawn a box by doing that. And then if something as simple as just slowing down your breathing can make a big difference for you if you can just slow it down. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're breathing pretty shallowly or short of breath maybe. And if we can focus on our breathing and just slow down where our breathing is coming from, be intentional with long, slow breaths, that's going to help us feel in more control, and it's going to help us calm down a lot faster. There's so many breathing exercises. In fact, we have this book up here in the Scraper Center office called Breathe, and it has multiple different ways you can have breathing exercises and what you can do. So if you're interested in more in that, we're actually you can stop by here anytime and take a look at it and see some other breathing exercise that might work for you. The next one is focus on what you can control. And this is a big ask. Figuring out what you can control first is really important. Who are you in control of? Are you in control of your best friends? Are you in control of your professor? Are you in control of your boss? Are you in control of your family members or your significant other? The answer is no. The only person that you are in control of is yourself. You can control your reaction. You can control the things you say and do. But as far as controlling anyone else, you just can't do it. So you have to look at also, what are you in control of? Are you in control of passing the test? Yes and no is the answer to that one. You can study, but ultimately, if the professor decides to write a test on things that you haven't studied, then that's out of your control. You can only do so much, right? Are you in control of the driver in the other car? Maybe they're trying to cut you off or run you off the road. Heaven forbid that you are not in control of that other car. You're in control of you and your car. And where are you in control? Are you in control in your dorm or in your home? Are you in control in a classroom? Are you in control in your car? You have to decide where are you in control? And the answer is you should be able to control yourself just about anywhere. There might be a lot of external challenges and things coming in, but I believe that you can really control your own behavior and words most of the time. It's also important that we take breaks. I know sometimes you're feeling too busy to take a break, but breaks are really, really important. It would be important to even schedule in your breaks or your rest time. You could also do a program where you work for 15 minutes and then you break for 2 minutes, and then you work for another 15 minutes and then you break for 2 minutes again, or whatever pattern that you want. It doesn't have to be 15 and 2, it can be any pattern that you want. But taking those scheduled breaks is really imperative for your mental health and mental wellness. Sometimes people feel like they have to get it all done all at once, and it feels very overwhelming. But if you can break it down into bite-sized pieces and work for a little bit and then take a break, and maybe you get up and walk around or get it something to drink or a cup of coffee, get a snack for yourself, just stretch your legs, it can make a huge difference. But you need to set a timer to do that. So also consider, do I do best when I work before I take a break, or I take a break before I work? For example, if you're in class and you're finished, are you going to be at your best right after class to go right then and do your homework, or to do the studying and then take a break? Or would it be better for you to take a break first and then do your studying or your homework? Either way, just make sure it's scheduled and that you stick to a time schedule where you can be healthy and happy taking breaks. Do what you enjoy. This cannot be overstated. We have to build in some things to our life that make you feel good in a healthy way. So if maybe it's exercise and you need to go to the gym, or maybe it's going for a walk or spending time in nature, going for a hike, going for a drive, doing yoga, or doing some sort of exercise at the gym. Any of those things can be things that you enjoy that feel good, as long as they're good for you and healthy ways to do things. Schedule in your free time, and schedule in fun and relaxing activities. Maybe it's journaling, or maybe it's doing something on Canva, creating something on Canva, or being on social media for a period of time. And then setting limits for yourself. Like for me, I know I try to turn off my phone by 10 o'clock at night. Does it always work? Nope. But I really try, and I try to set that limit for myself so I don't get a terrible night's sleep or not enough sleep. So find some things that you enjoy and then schedule them in and do those things. It's really important. I really love this next one. It's hug and get hugged, or be hugged. Hugs have healing properties. Did you know that? It improves your sleep, for one thing, to be held, to get hugged. It increases your pleasure and your well-being. It releases endorphins through your body when you get a hug. And honestly, the longer you get a hug, if it's at least for 1 minute, you're going to release all kinds of longer lasting endorphins and good feelings in your body and in your mind by getting a minute-long hug. Sometimes when people are feeling out of control, the best thing you can do is to just hug them and hold them tight. Sometimes you might want to yell at them and be like, get it under control. But that's the worst thing you could do. Instead, going up and saying, can I give you a hug? And holding on to them for at least a minute is going to make a huge difference in their day and maybe even their life. It also improves your immunity, because you're building up more immunity when you are in contact with people. It actually has research says that it betters your cardiovascular health, which is a huge plus. You fight with people less when you're hugging people. It reduces the symptoms of pain because of the endorphins that are released in the hug. It actually helps you feel less pain. It betters your team performance. If you're on a team, if you're not in a huddle with your arms around each other before a game or at halftime, you're missing out, because in close contact and hugs can really better your team performance, make you more connected with your teammates. It's really, really a benefit. And it leads to more self-compassion. When you are getting hugged or hugging someone on a regular basis, it leads to you having more compassion for yourself. Maybe forgiving yourself for mistakes on an easier basis. Maybe feeling not bad about scheduling times for rest or taking breaks in your schedule. But hugging and getting hugged is really important. Now, I would say be sure to check with someone's boundaries before you just walk up and give someone a hug. I don't hug someone unless they initiate or unless I ask them first. Would it be okay if I gave you a hug? People have personal boundaries, and you definitely do not want to violate those. So asking permission to give a hug is always appropriate. Finally, speak to a therapist. Now, therapy has had a stigma for some time, but that stigma is slowly starting to fade. I believe everyone should go to therapy. Therapy is like having a best friend that is paid to keep your secrets confidential. They cannot tell anyone else. They're a safe person or a safe place to tell things that you might not have told anyone else, and that's just fine for you to do that. Therapists should be validating. They should be listeners. If you want feedback, they should be able to provide you some feedback. And if you don't, they shouldn't. Therapists are people who are trained and educated to help you be your best person. And it's not shouldn't be a shameful thing to go see a therapist. Therapy at the Scraper Center is free and confidential. We are never going to say anything to anyone, not your parents, not your coaches, not your professors, not your friends, no one, unless your safety or someone else's is a concern, and then we'll work that out with you. We won't go behind your back. We'll work that out with you. So, excuse me, we have trained interns. We have a no wait list. So if you decide you need to get in to see somebody pretty fast, sometimes we can even see you the same day. If not the same day or later that week or maybe early in the next week, we can get you in really fast. We have 7 interns that all have availability right now. We do have immediate openings right now. So all you would need to do is give us a call or go to our website to get those openings. And our offices should provide a safe space for you to feel really comfortable and good about yourself and good about what you're sharing. And that's what we do here at the Scraper Center. And if it's not the Scraper Center, maybe you want to go to another therapist somewhere else, and that's totally fine. We do provide free services, but you might have insurance that also provides you free services. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for a therapist. It's a really healthy thing that you can do for yourself. I do want to show you the references for today's presentation. They are here in case you'd like to look up where we got our information today. Everything we talked about is research or evidence-based. So we're so happy that you joined us today in this seminar. If you have further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We are upstairs above the chapel. In the hallway to the chapel, there's an elevator that you take. Just come up to the 2nd floor, and we're the only people up here. So don't hesitate to stop by to schedule an appointment or to ask a question or to get the help that you need. I hope you have a great day, MacU. See you soon.